there, and then a few years later, they'd get bored with them and want to sell them. But I've been to England to chasing them down before.
Chasing them down, ready to go another. Okay, I'm looking at. I'll tell you what, we got another car coming up in just a minute, ladies and gentlemen. This car, like Tim said, is real rare. This car was the actual test car for Motor Trend, correct?
That's correct. December 1970.
And it was the actual test car itself, and Tim's going to tell you about that one in just a minute. Cheatwood Hardwood, right here in Heflin, Alabama. Alvin and Peggy Cheatwood owners. They got over 30 years experience in hardwood flooring. They've been in business over 10 years. They're the best around. They got the Bono dust containment system. Ladies, what this means, they come in and redo your hardwood floors, make them look brand new, no matter how old they are, dust free. I mean, you can shake your curtains and you won't find dust on it. You wouldn't even know there's there hardly unless you open the door for them when they got there. I'll tell you what, they're great. They do great work. They got a showroom up there that's got all types of flooring, wood flooring, anything you need done. Call them today, Alvin or Peggy. Tell them Barry Miller from Big Boyz Toyz told you to call. Ray City Diner and McKeag Motel, Highway 77, exit 168 off I-20 in Lincoln, Alabama. Ray City Diner is open 24 hours a day. They have lunch specials each and every day during the week. Meat, vegetables, you cannot beat their prices and their food right there at Ray City Diner. You people that like breakfast, you can order breakfast 24 hours a day, and they'll cook it at Ray City Diner. Right across the street, McKeag Motel. Great rooms at great rates right on the side of the interstate. Call Wanda or Roy McKeag today. Tell them Barry Miller from Big Boyz Toyz told you to call. You know, this day and time, our pets, well, they just like members of our family. So why not give them one-on-one personal service, personal care from the friendly staff at Greenbrier Animal Clinic on Greenbrier Road here in Anniston. You know, this time of the year, the fleas and the ticks, they're still here. The parasites and the heartworms disease, this is a year-round problem, and they have all the medication to treat this problem for your pets. They have grooming and boarding right here in the clinic. So give them a call today at 237-9585, and make sure you tell them Barry Miller from Big Boyz Toyz told you to call. Hey everybody, Barry Miller from Big Boyz Toyz. Let me tell you about a place called Tire Pro. Tire Pro has 4 locations in the Birmingham area, plus they distribute tires throughout the Southeast. Tire Pro has any kind of wheels, any kind of tires that you can imagine to put on your vehicle. They've got it. If you want to go up from the 16s to the 22s, Tire Pro can do it. Also remember, Tire Pro is installing peace of mind. Don't ever forget that. When they put tires on, they want you safe on the roadway, and they'll do anything to make that vehicle safe. Hey, go by and tell them Barry Miller from Big Boyz Toyz sent you by and said they install peace of mind. Next vehicle, let me look, Danny. I got some. I say Challenger, and I say Charger, and I say Hemi. I'm gonna get them right. 71 Hemi Motor Trend Charger. Now this one's a little bit different. This one kind of helped get it all going, I reckon, with the Charger.
It did. The Charger was a great race car. Yeah, we just looked at Richard Petty there just for a second, driving one of the old Chargers in a pit action there at Talladega. Richard Petty will tell you that he liked this body style better than the Superbird. Most people think otherwise. They think, oh, he loved the Superbird. No, he'll tell you straight up that this body style of Charger was the best one for his driving ability. He won more races with this car than any other car he ever put on the track. This particular car is neat because Motor Trend, as we all know, it's kind of the Bible of the car world. When it comes out, everybody reads Motor Trend today and way back in the 70s as well. Well, this car here is the one that Motor Trend requested from Chrysler to be tested so that they could run their test, introduce the car. So Chrysler actually, all the paperwork on this car has Motor Trend test car, what's called a broadcast sheet, which is inside the automobile. It's not something that you see unless you take the carpet out and you'll find it on the floorboard. But it had Motor Trend test car wrote all over it. And the reason for that, in my opinion, was they wanted to make sure this car had no rattles, no shakes, no anything in it. It had to be perfectly built from end to end, because if you had someone, interviewing about the car and all of a sudden you heard a big rattle in it, well, heck, you didn't want to have that printed in national media, because that would be bad. Because this was introducing the model the 71 model coming out. See, this is December 70 test, and it was being produced for the 71 year. And so this car here is really cool because you can actually see the magazine here. The magazine is this car, and believe it or not, this car has never been painted. It's exactly the way that the car was during this test.
So this is the car, actually, ladies and gentlemen, now we're not saying the replica. We're not saying the one it looks like. This is the actual car that Chrysler gave
to Motor Trend.
To Motor Trend to test that year before they come out with it.
That's right, to introduce it to the world, so to speak. And the car ran strong. And to this day, it's one of the, it's in the top, it's number 28 on the list of the all-time muscle cars. Now you think this is a lot of years Motor Trend's tested lots of cars. Well, I think it's still pretty cool that this one is still number 28 against all these exotic cars they've tested in the last few years. But it's still at number 28 is the fastest one they've ever tested.
Right, because they test everything.
Yeah.
I mean, European cars, they test it all.
That's what I'm saying. So the fact that this one's still in the 28, it's
actually
not
no
right.
one ever owned this one except you, except Motor Trend.
Well, no, there was one owner in between.
Right.
But it was a short ownership, and we've had it for many, many years
And
since then.
Motor Trend, really, they don't hurt them. They test them, and when they test them, they're not going to hurt the car because they're going to do the best they can working on that.
That's right. And it turned a quarter mile. By today's standard, it doesn't sound as fast as some things, but I think it was 13.7, 109 miles an hour, something like that. But in 1970, that was getting down the track pretty good.
And that, that was moving because this is not a little sports car either.
No, this is 4,700 pounds of car. That's what a lot of people don't realize. The Hemi engine is pushing a lot of metal. And when it's really getting against the clock at the end of the quarter mile, that's when the motor's really coming on and everything's happening.
And the Hemis, to me, remembering the history and talking to you, and I remember the Hemis, they really wanted to get going good after the quarter mile.
Right.
I mean, the quarter mile, they still working on getting up where they wanted to be.
They were top end engines but these big cars, actually, that was a plus because these cars were so heavy. That's what made them race good. Things weighed they had a lot of steel in them. They were heavy. But yet the big Hemi engine had so much torque. These engines today produce, I don't know what the torque is, but they're running 9,000 and 10,000 RPM. The Hemi made more torque than they're making today at 6,000 RPM.
Right.
So it could make this big old heavy car with a high-speeded axle just push right through the 200 mile an hour and keep going. And
gosh.
So it was a crazy time back then that they had happening.
Y'all tell me you can't get hit. Hey, watching Big Boyz Toyz last week and this week is better than reading a history book, I'm telling you. Sit back, relax. I tell you what, we're going to show you the first car that his dad bought. The first car, probably that got most all of this started way back. We'll be right back. Farmers and Merchants Bank. Farmers and Merchants Bank's got 4 locations to serve you: Piedmont, Anniston, Oxford, and downtown Jacksonville. 90 years of service. I'll tell you what, Farmers and Merchants Bank is the bank. It's not like any other bank around. You can go in and they get your decision today. They make your decision on a loan or whatever you need right in that location. You have a personal banker that takes care of you right here. Don't have to send it to Birmingham, Charlotte, or anywhere. Go by one of the Farmers and Merchants Bank today. Tell them Barry Miller from Big Boyz Toyz sent you by. When someone smiles at you during the day, it kind of makes you feel great all over. Dr. Travis Phillips and his friendly staff right here in Oxford, Alabama, says stop by their office and they'll help put that beautiful smile on your face. They have teeth whitening, general dentistry, cosmetic dentistry, dental hygienist, oral surgery, everything right here in Oxford, Alabama. He has full x-rays and partial x-rays that he does right in his office, and you'll find out right then what he needs to do. They got professional staff. They have a saying, go the extra mile for the beautiful smile. Stop by and tell them Barry Miller from Big Boyz Toyz sent you by. If you own an automobile, your starter, alternator, clutch, pressure plate, something's going to go out sooner or later. Precision Parts and Rebuilders, right there beside Betty's Barbecue, Anniston, Alabama, they rebuild these parts right there in the store. Hey, you guys fixing up the old cars, want to keep the matching numbers on your starter and alternator, they do it right there. Hey, and if they replace your starter and alternator, you get a lifetime warranty. Go by there and tell them Barry Miller from Big Boyz Toyz sent you by.
Well, bless my soul, what's wrong with me? Hey.
Next vehicle, 71 Hemi Charger.
Again.
Hey, you heard me say Hemi a lot the last 2 weeks. Now this is the one that was your dad's. Tell me about it.
Yeah, this is, you probably want to know what my favorite one is. I guess if we told the truth, this would have to be it because it's not just special, it's sentimental. My dad loved these things. He loved NASCAR racing and the fact that he could have one of these real Hemi Chargers, you know. And but he bought this car, and actually he bought, it's not his very first one. He bought a 1971 Charger RT that my mother, we had to get the 440 engine so she could have air conditioning and some of the creature comforts that that the Hemi wouldn't give you. Yeah. So he bought this car about 3 or 4 years after that one, and it had only 18,000 miles on it, so it was still like brand new. What he didn't know at the time he bought the car, which makes the car really special, this is the last Hemi Charger that was ever built. And so today, I have some cars undergoing restoration, and they're not here for you to see them, but I have the very first pilot car, it's called, Hemi Charger, that was ever built. We have the Motor Trend test car that introduced the Hemi Charger to the public, so to speak. And then my father, not knowing, but he purchased the very last one built. So we have the first and the last of the Hemi
Really
Charger.
have the test car, the first one and the last one.
Yeah, that's what we have. And this car here is it's a color called Tony Gold. It is truly a beautiful color out in the sunlight. It's just rich looking. It looks more like a gentleman's hot rod. It's not the bright Hemi orange or sassy grass green or plum crazy purple. It's just a real pretty rich color. And my dad, I've got great pictures of him driving this car through the years, and pictures of me where they'd take me, I'd wash it and keep it clean. I couldn't drive it because I wasn't old enough. Probably a good thing. He made sure I didn't get to drive it, and because it was dangerous. But the car is it's just a time capsule of my family, and really the roots of why I do what I do is that car.
But you had a lot to talk about, Matt, when you was 13, 14, you know. My dad's got a Hemi.
Yeah, yeah, I was proud of
It
that.
ain't like these. It ain't like these Dodge pickups today.
Like the new little commercial where the little boy says Hemi. That was
my
me.
My daddy got a
car,
Hemi, you know. But back then the Hemis a little bit different than they are now.
They're, you know, everybody is on this Hemi kick and the Charger kick, and but truthfully, the Hemi that's out there today is a Hemi, but it is barely a Hemi. It's not like the true 426 hemispherical head that was on these cars. But it's close enough that you can call it a Hemi. I personally do not own one. My mother has one. She's kind of sporting her 300 with a Hemi, so she likes it. But they're good cars today, and they have revived, and that's part of why the value is probably on some of these cars where it's at, because the Hemi Charger RT is out again. It's just not like these Hemi Charger RTs.
To me, a Hemi, if the spark plugs go down through the top, it's a Hemi.
It's
that's what you always say was a Hemi.
That's what tells it, is that spark plug through the top. Basically, it's simple. It just fires on top of the piston like a piece of fire, like fire ought to do, and go down that motor instead of coming in through the side like all other engines do.
And they're elected the same thing, really. It's working on the same, but it's coming through the top.
It's coming through the top.
That's how we'd always say with a Hemi. If it ain't got the plugs going to the top, it ain't a Hemi.
Yeah. And the reason that, quick on that, the reason the Hemi engine was not mass produced is because it's expensive, because the head was 2 sets of rocker arms where only 1 set of rocker arms is needed on a normal wedge motor. Well, the Hemi requires 2. It's got to be on each side of the spark plug running across the top of the head. And it's more expensive to build. So, you know, manufacturers weren't into spending a lot of money just for the general public to drive up and down the road with a Hemi. So
they built it for racing. It was different.
That's right. Racing is a whole different story.
Tell you what, let's see. Oh, I say that word a lot. Really, I ain't even got to look at the book. It's going to be a 71 Charger coming up next. We'll be right back. Now, Cheehaw Harley-Davidson, right here in Oxford, Alabama, Davis Loop Road. They're your Harley-Davidson dealer for this area. In my opinion, they're a Harley-Davidson dealer all areas. Stop by and see Keith or George today. They have about 40 Harleys on display. Buy a new Harley. They have used Harleys. Clothes, you people like the Harley leather. They got any type of Harley clothing you want. Helmets, you name it, it's right there. All you guys with Harleys want to put that extra chrome on that brand new Harley. They got any type of chrome you could want. Stop by Mount Char Harley-Davidson today. Tell them Barry Miller from Big Boyz Toyz sent you by. St. Clair Auto Parts, they're your Napa dealer for this area. They're on 78 right there in Pell City. Open on Sundays from 12 to 5 with delivery within a 10-mile radius. Tractors, lawnmowers, boats, cars, doesn't make any difference. They got the parts right there. They make hydraulic hoses right there in the store. Any kind of tools you want, they've got. If they don't have your part, they can get it overnight from Birmingham, Atlanta, or Knoxville. So go by there on Sunday and get a part. Mention Big Boyz Toys, get a special discount. Remember, 170 years combined sales experience in that place. Tell them I sent you by. If you want to go out for the eating or fine dining, you can find it right here in downtown Anniston at Classic Old Noble. The atmosphere is set for a quiet dinner for 2 or a party for 20. They have a lounging area upstairs so you can have a drink with a friend or a business associate. They also have a seating available upstairs in a nice quiet atmosphere. Classic Old Noble also caters for special events and parties for any amount of people from 2 to 20 to 200. Stop by Classic Old Noble today and tell them Barry Miller sent you by. Hey everybody, Barry Miller from Big Boyz Toys. First of all, I want to thank you for watching Big Boyz Toys, because it's you people watching the show and the sponsors that makes Big Boyz Toys. You see the sponsors on this backboard? These sponsors are what bring Big Boyz Toys to you each and every week. I mean, if you need anything, carpet, car, painted, whatever, any sponsor on this backboard that you need, give them a call today. Tell them you watch Big Boyz Toys, you appreciate them sponsoring the show, and you want to use their services. Also, we're getting our calendar ready for 2006. If you're watching this show, I don't care if you're in Tuscaloosa, Huntsville, Decatur, Coleman, wherever you're at, you've got a car show coming up in 2006, you'd like for us to come in and film at your car show and try to help bring more cars in there, give me a call today, 256-283-4404. And if I don't have something booked that day, guarantee you we'll try our best to come to your car show. So give me a call today. Thanks for watching. Bates Food Mart right on Quintard Avenue, right beside China Luck before you go into Anniston. BP dealer for this area. Stop by and see Victor or Danielle Bates today for all of your convenience store needs. They have cigarette specials each and every week. Coke specials, whether it be the 12-pack or the liter, they're always on special at Bates Food Mart. Hey, also you notice he's got just about anything you need in that store. Snacks, cold beer, wines, all kinds of wines, specialty wines. Stop by today, see him, tell him Barry Miller from Big Boyz Toys sent you by. Ron's Automotive and Custom Rods right here in Leeds, Alabama. Tell you what, any kind of vehicle you've got that you want restored, he builds custom rods, but if you've got the regular 66 Chevelle, Mustang, whatever, Ron and his staff can bring it back up from, and if it's rusty, whatever, they build it back up and make you a show car, you'll be proud to go anywhere. They also have an automotive section. Shane, his son, runs the automotive section, so you people that's got just tune-ups you need done, brake jobs done, whatever, go by today, tell them Barry Miller from Big Boyz Toys sent you by. Quality Cuts, Family Hair Care Centers, 211 South Quintard, right across from Superior Jeep, Anniston, Alabama. They do haircuts, chemical services. Chemical services mean they can, they can do the highlights, they can do the perms, they can do the coloring. They do anything there. They also have waxing, skin care, facials. They do that also. Hey, guess what? 2 massage therapists on staff. These are licensed massage therapists right there, so you can get a massage, and these people know what they're doing. Stop by and see Rita or one of her staff. Tell her Barry Miller from Big Boyz Toys sent you by. If you dream of getting away for the weekend with your family from the hustle and bustle, Turner's Outdoor Center right here in Stemley Bridge Road in Pell City, Alabama has the answer for you. They have a 36-foot SRV starting at just $350 per month. You want something a little smaller? 24-footer starting at $160 per month. This is with no down payment and a super interest rate starting at 7.25%. Great part is no payment for 90 days. They service all of the units right there on their location. Hey, new location opening soon, Emory Crossroads and I-20. So give Billy Turner or one of his sales staff a call today. Tell him Barry Miller from Big Boyz Toys told you to call.
So you want the best deal on a pre-owned automobile? Ron Newton does it again. Announcing the car, truck, and SUV summer sell-off. Record Sales has brought in a huge selection of late model trade-ins inspected by Ron Newton himself before they're ever put on the lot. Make an offer on the best selection of pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs. Ron Newton's summer sell-off is only for a limited time at Ron Newton Used Cars, top of the hill, Quintard, Anniston.
71. Let's see, Hemi. What's that word? Charger. Tell me about this one.
Well, this one is it's kind of a neat color combination. That's what I like. It's called gunmetal gray. It also has a gunmetal interior, which Chrysler you had lots of options on what's neat about the Charger in this period of time, no two ever looked alike. What you saw today, every one of them is different in some way. There's nothing like today you go buy a car and basically they're all the same except for color. you built your Charger off your order pad the way you want it to be, and you were very unlikely to ever see another one just like it anywhere. And it's what makes them neat to have all these things. But this one's gunmetal, has a gunmetal interior, which is a light bluish gray interior rather than just a black like so many cars had. And it's got the pistol grip 4-speed, and that makes this car really unique because of that 4-speed.
That's something else that Chargers, Super Beat, and Dodges, when I was a teenager, and people would have, you know, back when I was a teenager, I never knew that cars would get expensive as they was today to get, because, you know, I seen them. I didn't see a lot of these, but you see Road Runners, Super Bs, GTXs, but when you look at that and see that pistol grip, it was just weird. I mean, when I was 16 years old, I said, check that shifter out in that thing.
Pistol grip sitting there in your head, and Chrysler would come up with it, and it actually adds a tremendous amount to the value today just because of the looks of it. And,
I mean, some of them, you probably don't remember, I'm a little older than you, I'm sure, but had the old, the Hearse quick shift, you know, and had the little click on it, you know.
Yep.
Everybody thought that was bad, and then you look over and there's that pistol grip, and it just puts you to shame.
It's intimidating to say the least.
What do you got? That's a pistol grip over there.
But anyway, it's just a beautiful car to look at. And then sitting right beside it is you'll look at one of the prettier colors that I think we have is called Jamaica Blue. It's also a 71 Hemi Charger.
We'll talk about that one while we're talking.
Yeah.
That'd make Greg happy. One Greg.
Yeah,
We'll just keep right on talking.
But anyway, it's sitting here, and it's got a white interior, and it's an automatic. Don't know any particular history on this car. I bought this car several years ago, and I bought it strictly off the eye appeal of what this car, it just jumps at you. It's just a pretty color, pretty interior, and of course it's got under the hood what it takes. So.
Hemi. You know, I was over in Georgia about, what was it, Greg, a month and a half ago, when we was at Mike and Tony Sam's house. I went over and done his collection. And Mike is the same way about 427s that you are about him. No, 429s. Let me get that right. 429. Everything that I interviewed except a couple of Corvettes had a 429 with 2 4s. He said he could build them things with his eyes shut. But he had a Cobra. He had a 57 Ford. Everything had a 429. Nice. And so Mike's the 429 man. But anytime you think about a 426 Hemi, you got to think about Tim Wellman. You just in the back of your mind, it's got to be Tim Wellman, because that is the motor of motors, I guess.
Well, it still is to this day. It always will be the engine to beat. It just will. Not just because I grew up with them. It's just done its job and done it better than anybody else, and that's what it comes down to. But you know, the collection, we have about 35 of these cars, maybe 36, in that neighborhood, and we have just recently purchased a dealership building. I don't know if you want to talk about that right
Yeah,
now.
right here. It's right here in Alex City.
Right. It's about 2 blocks from my home here, and it's an old Chevrolet dealership. And it was built back in the 50s, and we're in the process right now of restoring that building and making it look like the car dealership that it once was. Of course, it won't have GM on the front. It's going to have Dodge, Plymouth, and I've been collecting all the memorabilia to go in the showroom, and we'll actually have a true museum setting here in Alexander City in a few years. It'll be something similar on a much smaller scale than to what George Barber's done with the Barber Motorsports Complex. It'll be a foundation that all these cars will pass into, and it'll be set up into this beautiful setting, and you'll think you've just walked back in time, where you can go purchase an old muscle car right off the showroom floor.
And it's going to be right here in Alex City. It's going to be like a Mopar museum right here in town. And
Well, actually, I'm going to I got a Corvette, and I've got a Ford Thunderbird 56, and I'm going to buy some other things, because those are going to look like trade-ins for these Mopars. So anyway, we're gonna have some fun down the road of having a really pretty muscle car type setting in a building that the public can come view. And because the cars are never for sale, they are strictly here for me to enjoy right now, and then my friends. But in time, the public as well.
Right, and you know, I want to thank you. We're fixing to close the show, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you and Pam for letting us come down. And like you said, you've seen, 18, 19 of these cars. There's plenty. He's got another building down there that, like he said, he's fixing up with more Mopars. They covered up, a bunch of them in it covered up down there. But he does good. He had a Corvette sitting in there a while ago. We moved it to put this Mopar in, and he's got a T-Bird. But you know, he is diversifying a little bit, but not a whole lot. And you know, it's people like Tim that's got these cars, and the sponsors of Big Boyz Toyz. I mean, where else in the last 2 weeks could you sit there and see as much history as Tim just took you through in 2 weeks about these cars, how they come to, you know, and Mopars, I was telling you up in Alex City, I've been doing the show 4 years. Mopars are hard to find.
They are very hard to find.
And Greg, I tell you, and Johnny or Jerry, either one, I was telling them before I met you, Dan, I said, you know, Mopars are just hard to find. I found a couple in Odenville. Greg, I know where they at now. All the Mopars at Tim's house. That's why we didn't find no Mopars in Alabama. They're all right here in Alex City, Alabama.
They kind of came this direction.
Well, Tim, I appreciate you being on the show. You got a gorgeous collection. Your hospitality has been great. You and Pam got a beautiful home, beautiful setting, and a lot of beautiful cars. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching this week. We had a great time. Hey, if you had a great time watching last week's show and watching this week's show, you think about the great time me, Chris, Greg, Cherry was down here earlier, the time we have, because we actually get to sit and turn around, and they're right here. We're looking at them up close. Tell everybody goodbye.
We'll see you next time.
We'll see you next time on Big Bay. He took my line, didn't he? See you.